Good morning, this is Jack Charting the Markets, and this is the pre-market webinar for the morning of Thursday, the 24th of July. My disclaimer, I do this for educational purposes only. I'm here to share my technical analysis with you. I hope you can take some of what I'm doing, learn from it, transfer it to your own charts. I'm not here to issue trading signals. This is a video for paying subscribers at chartingthemarkets.substack.com, and it's published on YouTube after a delay of 24 hours. Okay, right, let's have a look at equities. I did a post this morning, so have a look at that. I was basically saying that it looks like this inflection point is coming together for next week on crypto and on equities, and that the two key things that were going to happen next week, really, in my view, were one, the legal ruling on the legality of Trump's tariffs, which obviously could potentially just get rid of all Trump's tariffs, at least for the moment, and the other thing is having got the negotiation and the deal done with Japan, there is talk that a deal with the EU is pretty close as well. If that comes in, again, that could be pretty market positive. So I put that in. I put the higher targets in the event we break up from this inflection point, but I've talked about the unfinished business, which is mostly finished, with just a little bit left. ES, we have gone a little higher, testing the 6400 area at the moment. And Q, this has actually been a little weaker, partially because the XLK, the sector ETF for tech, is actually on a bit of a decline this week. RTY, obviously we have gone back and retested the high, nice looking potential level top, and a weak 6-minute sell signal is fixed. YM has retested the high, Dia has retested the high. We haven't quite seen the retest of the all-time high on Dow, which directly, which I would like to see. DAX and ESTX have both broken up from decent looking bull flags, back testing on that on ESTX at the moment, and I'd like to see retests of the high on both, which we haven't seen yet either. All right, let's have a look at the bigger picture charts. Looking at Dia, Dia obviously has retested the high. We've got a possible RSI 14 sell signal brewing, and that's joining the sell signals which are already fixed on the RSI 5 on QQQ, and on RSI 14 and RSI 5 on SPX, and RSI 14 and RSI 5 on IWM. We haven't yet quite reached the retest of the all-time high on Dow, but we got really close yesterday, and I'm thinking there's a pretty good chance we're going to hit that in the next 2 or 3 days. We will see how that goes. We've now got on the weekly chart, we've also got a weekly possible weekly RSI 5 sell signal brewing here, which I haven't marked in. All right, looking at NDX, no negative divergence there on the weekly, and I don't think we've got any on SPX either. No, we don't. So there's far from a clean sweep on that one, but we will see how that goes. In terms of the short term, have we managed to break up from these patterns? No. In fact, this is the area we would need to reach just to reconfirm the patterns and move the trend line so that we're unbroken. That's still, good 40, 50 handles above. Looking at the Qs, again, I've marked in the trend line here, which you would need to reach to basically just expand the wedge. That again is significantly higher. High currently is 566. It would need to get up to about 572, 573 to get that. So again, significantly short. Dia, pretty happy with the double top as it is now. We haven't actually broken down from the rising wedge here. Looking at IWM. IWM, we've got retest of this high here, broken very, very slightly through this wedge support. Do we have an alternate wedge trend line that I'm watching here? Yes, it's this one here. It would be significantly higher, but you'd expect that because, of course, the bull scenario here is that we're on IHS setting up a retest of the all-time high at 243. Looking at, we've already got an RSI 5 sell signal fixed and a weak RSI 14 sell signal fixed, of course. On the hourly chart, not a lot to see really, but you can see we have actually broken slightly through the rising support. So this looks like topping action, and this, of course, would be a potential level top. DAX, obviously, we've got the bull flag, which is broken up on the hourly chart. That we've been testing the daily middle band. Daily middle band across the board is the main support for all these indices, and I'm expecting to see a retest of this high. And Nikkei has retested the high, and this is the spike that was on the deal that was struck between the Japanese and the Americans. Could this still go back up and retest 42.4? It's not that far away. In fact, it went up as much yesterday as it need to do to get to that. So it's on the table, maybe. We got a possible RSI 14 sell signal brewing as well. Okay, let's have a look at DX. Now, overall, I'm actually leaning towards seeing the low retest here. We've got the double top, it's broken down. We've got the double bottom on Euro, that's broken up. We do have a 60-minute buy signal fixed here, and we are seeing a bit of a rally. We will see how that develops. But I'm leaning towards, unless we see the monthly pivot broken and converted to support and then move up from there, I'm really leaning towards seeing the move down to 96 to retest this low. Not seeing a lot to contradict that on currencies. We've got the 60-minute sell signal fixed on Euro as well. Nice looking level bottom has broken up. Less far to go on here, but I'm expecting to see the retest of this high and maybe a bit higher. Not a lot to see on the others. We've got a buy signal which is fixed and got most of the way to the target on Canadian dollar, which is interestingly maybe forming, is forming, I think, a triangle here. Now, this would be a bearish triangle. A, B, C, D, partial wave up and then down. This supports the idea that we're just going to see a bit of a rally on the dollar and then downward from there. Not a lot to see on Australian dollar. Obviously, we had a double top here, which rejected back up into the high. 60-minute sell signal fixed. 60-minute sell signal fixed on NZ as well. These are all sporting a short-term up on the dollar, and then probably larger down. ZB. ZB is going down here. Now, we're in a slightly odd situation here. We had head and shoulders break up or down on ZB, on Xian. We've got TLT and TMX. Now, the head and shoulders on here, Xian has failed. The one on ZB has not yet failed, but I kind of expect there's kind of a lean. If you see two of these fail on a series of linked patterns like this, then they will probably all fail. But at the moment, it's heading in the other direction. But I am wondering whether this will fail and reject back up into this high. Looking at CL, CL is holding this rising support so far, but rising megaphone that I was talking about last night on the bigger picture has broken down, and we've got a weak 6-minute sell signal as fixed on RBOB, which obviously has open targets below. I was leaning yesterday towards these breaking down, and I'm still leaning towards them breaking down. More so this morning because of the break in support on HO. Looking at NG, we're seeing a little bit of a rally here after a very strong push down into a lower low. I'm leaning towards this being an ABC, and it probably going lower than this. No current positive divergence, we will see, but I'm leaning towards the downside. On GC, I've got an overall triangle forming here on the gold chart, and I'm wondering whether this is wavy of a bullish triangle, which would then break up into a retest of the high. We will see. SI, we've got a potential. We retested the high as expected. Sell signal has made target. We've got a possible double top here, so I'm watching that with interest. On Palladium, sell signals reached possible near miss target, probably reached the bull target today. Platinum had already reached the sell signal target, so we're pretty much playing out the sell signals on here. I am wondering about a retest of the high, the all-time high on gold, which obviously we've been waiting for a while. On copper, we retested this high and got potential double top. Now, this is weakened by not being obvious on the continuous chart. We've got a 60-minute sell signal which is fixed here, and we're seeing whether this is going to develop. I have to say, the thing we've got here, which is, well, we've still got people who will be buying copper against the tariffs which are due to start on the 1st of August, but the question is how far that takes us. Enough of a rejection here, then I'll be leaning towards this being a double top and taking this lower and going back pretty much into a test of the month pivot here in the 5 area, and obviously the source of the area where it was went up very sharply on the tariff news. Now, there's always a tendency to return to these news areas, and I'm thinking we may be starting that process now. Looking at KC, KC wondering about a possible larger flag forming here, ABC. No current divergence here. Sugar, I'm leaning towards this being the an IHS forming. So all we need to do is get up to 17, break up, and we'd have a target really pretty close to a retest this high here in the 18.5 area. CC has broken up through the declining resistance, so I'm thinking this may well be bottoming action. Watching for possible IHS to form their current divergence. CT, I'm wondering about a triangle forming here too. Actually, how could that triangle be? Not bad at all. I think that's triangle resistance trend line. And I am wondering about that forming here at the moment, and we will see how that goes. But if it is a triangle, then it's likely a bearish triangle, which would it be? A, B, C, D, E. Yeah, this would be likely a bearish triangle, which would be about to break down. I'm leaning towards the downside on that. So we shall see. Lumber. Lumber, we had a double top, it broke down, it rejected, back up into the high, and we've got a potential larger double top here. Bigger picture, I'm leaning towards the short side. ZW, we've got leaning towards the downside on all of the grains. Not much sign of that happening on ZW at the moment. Corn, we've got a head and shoulders which has broken down and not failed, although we do have a 60-minute buy signal fixed that's pretty much reached the possible near miss target. On soy, we failed the head and shoulders here. This could be a new and much uglier head and shoulders, but really the lower quality is not a particular sign in its favor. But I am leaning towards seeing a retest this low, so we'll see. Soybean oil, I'm still looking for a test of the soybean oil trendline support. I've got that in about the 53.90 area, I think. Yeah, I think so. So live cattle just continuing up at the moment. I've drawn in a support trend line here, no sign of it topping. And lean hogs, I'm still expecting to see a retest of this high here in about the 92 area. All right, great. Let's have a look at questions, of which we have none. All right, so leading towards seeing a couple of higher targets here and into an inflection point basically at the end of July. That's what it looks like at the moment. We've got a couple of pieces of good news that could send the market up. If tariffs are ruled illegal, that would likely send the market up. If the tariffs are legal, but the Americans manage to make a deal with the Europeans as well as the Japanese one, which was landed this week, then that's probably market positive as well. Those could break us up into the higher targets that I laid out on the 2nd of June and 2nd of July, probably. I don't know. It's referenced in the post today and was mentioned in my post last week. We shall see. All right, great. In that case, that's a wrap. Everyone take care. Catch you tomorrow morning.